Blue balls. You should do a shield run. Do a what? Trying to become Elden Lord only using a shield? Idiot. Oh, yeah, that's an idea. Would you actually mind holding still for me?
What?
Go, go, gadget, human gun.
Wait, what?
Okay, let's do this. Historically, shields in Dark Souls games are either impenetrable forces of nature that not even a god could get through, get parried, Lord of Cinder for what? For what? Or they are a literal piece of cardboard with a sign on it that says, hey, everyone come attack me right now. I love this game! Or they're just an average shield that any old grunt will use. And boy oh boy, Elden Ring is no different. This dumb game's got anything between a wooden shield that's definitely not horn, a shield that could parry an 18-wheeler. We hit those! And a snake? Apparently, there's a straight up snake on a shield. And lastly, and my personal favorite, the combined destructive power of the US. Wait, pause. What's the US? Please don't interrupt me. For this challenge, I will only be allowed to use shields, and a few other shield-esque things. Now, I know there's a lot of other shields in this game, but for this challenge specifically, I'll just be sticking to great shields. Mostly because of their high blocking potential and their huge amount of damage that they can dish out. I found Godfrey's ultimate weakness, a rock. Look at that, no damage. Now I use a few other shields for this, but the main 4 contenders are the Spiked Palisade shield located here on the map, the Visage shield located here, the One-Eyed shield located here, and finally the Fingerprint Stone shield located here, right under Lamedell. Now the first shield that I pick up is the Spiked Palisade shield. Number 1, because it's the only shield you can pick up without having to kill anything, and it comes with bleed. So, now that we've picked up our first shield and we know which other shields we're going for, let me just skip past all the boring parts that happen in every single challenge run. Okay, yep, golden seeds, take it here, yeah. Give me deck this, give me some smithing stones, and just beat up this dragon for a little bit. Okay, very cool. And just like that, it's boss rush time.
You coming?
Where?
Why, to the
Pound Town.
of course. This is the
The Spiked Palisade.
Express.
After completing the first 5 bosses, this is where things really started to slow down. And I think now's a good time to give you an update as to what my build will look like throughout this run. At this point, I had already picked up my Visage shield, as well as the 4 talismans that I was going to be using throughout this run. That being the Axe Talisman, the Warrior Jar Shard Talisman, the Green Turtle Talisman, as well as the Guard Boost Talisman, with a few honorable mentions that were interchangeable depending on what shield I used. Now I probably should have brought this up sooner, but I also picked up the Ash of War Shield Crash, which is an absolute must if you're running some of the shields that I have. This Ash of War is what allows me to be blocking and attacking at the exact same time, and I never took this off of almost any of the weapons that would allow me to have it. Almost the entire run, I was using Golden Bout into Flame Grant Me Strength. Now as for my Physic tier, I was using the Strength Knot, giving me a +10 to Strength, being able to let me wield some of the shields early on, and the Green Burst Crystal tier to give me more stamina recovery. And while both of these tiers were good, I ended up replacing them later in the run with a myriad of other tiers. At this point, all of my non-somber shields are at a +13, and my somber shields are at a +6. They would be a +7, but I struggled to get the first somber 7 stone. Okay, give it to me. You bitch! And I didn't end up getting it till later in the run. In terms of level wise, this is what I'm rocking right now. That's about all I've got stat wise for you. But from here on out, these bosses start using me as a doormat the way they're Fortnite dancing over my dead corpse. So I'll be giving a little more commentary on these boss fights than I have been in previous fights. Okay, let's get back to it. Contrary to my editing earlier in the video, I did actually attempt the Draconic Tree Sentinel earlier in the run, and it didn't go very well. Go over there. Get over to the cliffside. Why aren't you following my arrows? Fine, I'll just take you on myself. Oh my gosh, what's a derogatory term for a Draconic Tree Sentinel? Pyromancer, boo! Turns out watching hours of challenge videos doesn't necessarily make you good at the game. Out of the very few videos that I saw where people completed the shield run and they had a timer on, most of them finished it at about 25-ish hours. Even though I didn't have a timer for this run, getting to DTS, I was about 10 hours in, and it was only going to get longer from here. And don't forget, what I'm showing you right now is technically before I'd even beaten Radon. So, let me do a frame perfect transition for you guys to jump to where we're... Ooh, and just like that, the depressed testicle sucker was down. And just before we head into the sewers to pick up our last shield, I wanted to defeat Goldfree, just for a few extra runes.
Realising 2014 is only 3 months away. Yeah.
Thankfully, fighting Godfrey was like having an audiobook read you the Harry Potter series. It was fairly easy. My damage was there, his punish windows were huge, and he didn't do nearly as much stamina damage as DTS did. So now it's
Morgot.
Nope, not yet. We'll get to you, trust me. It's Moog time. Nope, just kidding. Platforming time. This game sucks. That it does suck past me, but unlike this video, we had a purpose for being here. And that purpose was the Fingerprint Stone Shield, the highest physical damage shield in the entire game, as well as having the highest damage reduction stats out of any of the other shields. This is a absolute must if you want to do a shield run. Unfortunately, it's locked behind the hardest boss in the game, Elden Ring platforming. But nevertheless, we got it. upgraded it, and now it was time for
Morgot, last of all kings.
Oh man, Morgot was actually pretty easy this time. I'm surprised he didn't give me much trouble. Like, on my bubble run, he pretty much boned me the entire time. Oh well, let's do some leveling up. What? Level 128? What the frick? I'm sorry. I've been quiet this whole time. Do you mean to tell me you over-leveled for Morgot? Are you kidding me? Man, I freaking wish that I over-leveled for Morgot. Because what actually happened is I lost all of the freaking clips from Golden Godfrey pretty much till the end of the game. So I had to go back into New Game Plus and do it all over again. Freaking... frick! Oh, yep. Yeah, you heard him correctly. Promptly after finishing the game, I was trying to move clips over and I lost them. Poof. Fugazi. They're not there. But in the spirit of continuing this video, I ended up going into New Game Plus and beating the whole game again. So just be advised, every clip I show of me killing a boss is in New Game Plus. Though I will still be telling my struggles in the perspective of my first playthrough rather than New Game Plus. Also, I think now's a good time to mention, I'm going to have a separate enlisted video of all the clips I have unedited of me killing each boss in case you want to see how it all went down. That'll be in the pinned comments and description if you want to check it out. And now for another seamless transition into... Yoink! Wee woo, editing police here. So, technically in my New Game Plus run, I realm warped to Fair Missoula to skip the Fire Giant. So I don't have any clips of me technically killing the Fire Giant. I do have some remaining clips from the original run. Now back to our boy. Your face looks like my pubes, you Fire Giant rat! Dang it! Oh, Fire Giant. Oh boy. I'm fairly certain BDSM stands for, Fire Giant, because this was just straight pain. The Fire Giant was actually the reason this run took so dang long. And while I had some troubles with some of the previous bosses and, you know, having to start the game over again, I'm pretty sure all of New Game Plus took less time than me fighting the Fire Giant did. The Fire Giant in previous runs has always been a boss that I can just kind of steamroll through. Yes, he is usually the boss that takes me the longest to kill, and he requires an immense amount of patience. But as far as I can remember, this boss fight has never taken me longer than when using a shield. At this point, I had access to every shield that I was planning on using this run, but unfortunately, the Visage shield ended up doing the most amount of damage, which I was actually kind of disappointed about, because I was really looking forward to using the other shields, and so far, the Visage shield was the only one that I'd really used. But the damage just wasn't even comparable, and if I wanted to kill this guy, I was going to need to use my highest damaging shield. So, how in the world did I beat this guy? It was a lot and a lot and a lot of patience. I could pretty consistently get through his first phase. His second phase was the real problem. And one of the reasons why his second phase is so hard in general is because his damage windows are so small. If you've never fought the fire giant before, let me tell you. His first phase is particularly easy because his main crit spot is down by his ankles, and because he's standing, it's pretty easy to hit. But for his second phase, the fire giant decides to rip off his foot, removing his main crit spot. So what does he do for his second phase? He gets on his hands and stubs and starts crawling around, and his crit spots move from the bottom of his foot to his wrists, which are constantly moving. And like I said earlier, his damage windows are extremely small. The only time you can really hit them is whenever he does a slam attack followed up by another slam attack. And this didn't happen every single time, but occasionally after that second slam attack, he would follow it up with a third one. But this was never that consistent for me. But you know, having a heart of gold and an extremely large shield made hitting his attack windows so hard, all while trying to dodge his fireballs and manage my flasks, and also keep Torrent alive, because if Torrent died, I was pretty much dead. But eventually, after being so patient and taking my sweet time to kill this guy, I finally got him. And holy crap, I was so hyped, because I haven't really touched on this so far. Pretty much every other boss was turned kind of on easy mode. With me being able to do damage and block at the same time, it made memorizing boss fights almost non-existent, making the fire giant one of the very few boss fights that I really had to learn and really had to earn. Now after getting teleported to Farum Azula, it was everyone's favorite boss fight. That's right, the Godskin duo, baby! This fight broke me. Yep, your eyes do not deceive you, those are summons back there. Now I wasn't originally planning on using summons at all, but with the fire giant fight and the Godskin duo being back to back, I had just had enough. But unlike my bubble run, I didn't want to use the mimic tier for this one. So after some research, I came across a summon that I felt fit the criteria for this challenge without ruining the spirit of the challenge. So with that, I'd like to introduce you to the Great Shield Soldier Summon. Boo, using summons, boo. Didn't your maiden sacrifice herself only for you not to become Elden Lord? Hey, come on, man, what the? Yeah, that's what I thought. Shut up and come help me already. And yep, that's how it went down. I didn't end up using Bernald on my first run, but I figured since I had already beaten these guys once, might as well invite him, and it'd be funnier for the video. So while yes, it did take me technically 6 summons to beat these guys, we ended up getting them. But yes, moral of the story, if you're gonna fight these guys only using shields, you're better off just not. Okay, geez, this boss rush is kind of killing me. Well, I guess it's now time for Same deal as the fire giant. I don't have the clip of me killing Malekith, but I have clips of me fighting him. And boy, was Malekith not all that bad. This definitely wasn't a first try run. With the spirits, it was pretty easy to get him down to his second phase, but his second phase proved to be significantly more challenging. Now, like I mentioned whenever I was fighting the fire giant, most of the bosses up until the end game, I've kind of just been able to steamroll because I've been able to do damage while blocking. But in Malekith's second phase, his black blade, when it hits you, deals damage over time. While I didn't know it at the time, that means if it hits my shield at all, it still deteriorates my health. And that goes the exact same for my spirits as well. This proved to be a major problem, because not only were my spirits getting wrecked, I was getting wrecked even faster. And while I don't have the clip, this is where the fingerprint stone shield really came in handy. With this fight, it was a race against damage, and my fingerprint shield could dish out some damage. But thanks to shield crash and my summons and a very well placed stagger, we were finally able to get him after a few attempts. Gideon was a straight up joke. Typically, this dude's got me quaking in my baby seal leather boots, simply because if you don't kill him on your first try, he becomes, in my opinion, one of the hardest bosses in the game. Now technically, the run that I had done right before this one was an Iron Ball only run, and Gideon messed me up in that run. So I was shaking and pissing wondering how this fight was gonna go, but thankfully it was a joke.
To become fortissax state of affairs, I commend your spirit for the loss. None shall take the throne. Queen Marika has high hopes for us, but we continue to struggle unto eternity. I know in my bones a tarnished.
So yeah, hopefully if you guys ever try this, he doesn't give you that much trouble either. But now for another seamless trans.
Look at Randy Orton slithering.
Watch out, watch out, watch out!
I am very much in danger!
Once again, we ran into another roadblock. I think out of all the bosses that I have recordings of, Godfrey is probably the one that I have the most deaths with. Unlike his golden counterpart, this Godfrey was not messing around. Even when I fought him in New Game Plus, he was still giving me troubles. And just like the Fire Giant was another reason why this run took so long. After getting tired of having my face slammed into the ground every 5 seconds, I finally decided to put some actual thought into this. And by putting some actual thought into this, I meant clicking the X button to summon my spirits. And that was it. We destroyed him after that. Once again, I'm not here to get good, I'm here to beat the game using shields.
Please, what? Please, have mercy!
And lastly, we have Radagon. Because of my summons just crowding his toes, slamming their shields into his face,
I am very much in danger!
he was forced to focus on them, which left me standing in the back doing absolutely nothing, which finally meant I could use the one shield that I had been waiting for this entire run. Trust me, I tested this out on pretty much every boss, and the damage was almost always beat out by the other two shields that I was using. But this one, now I could finally bring out the one-eyed shield. Trust me, there is no one on this planet who wanted the one-eyed shield to be good more than me. And while it was good at dispensing Radagon, it was atrocious against the Elden Beast. It was so bad that if I didn't switch off the weapon immediately after killing Radagon, I was almost certainly going to die in Elden Beast. So eventually, the Visage Shield did become the better option. But hopefully one day I will do a one-eyed shield only run, because I absolutely love that weapon. And it's a crying shame that it's as bad as it is. And because I've been editing this video for far too long, I'll spare you guys the details, and if you fought Elden Beast before, you know why he's a piece of garbage boss. And just like that, I had done it. I had beaten the game only using shields and the power of friendship, but that doesn't make as good of a title. I absolutely love this dumb game, and the fact that you can use stupid builds like this and still beat the game is insane to me. It also shows how passionate the developers were to put such love and care into every single weapon and build like this. Oh, this game is so freaking good.
Our seed will look back upon us and recall an age of fracture.
First off, I'd like to say if you made it to this part of the video, I very much appreciate you. But comment down below, let me know what other runs I should do. I've got about 4 or 5 other ones that I've got done just waiting to be edited. And yeah, I'm so excited to do more. I love doing this stuff. Also, if you just want to see straight up footage of me just taking on the bosses, there'll be a link in the description for you to check out a video where I've compiled all the unedited boss footage that I have, which, to be fair, I'm missing a lot. But it's all there if you want to go check it out. But yeah, if you like the video, make sure to piss your pants, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. You do realize the only reason you're Elden Lord now is because I helped you beat the Godskin duo, right? Oh yeah, and I'll be sure to thank you by replacing your toilet paper with duct tape.